Hello and welcome back to my Fire Red Randomized Nuzlocke. Most folks just call me Orange Joe, and I gotta reacquaint myself with what we're doing. Not that it's been that long, I just, basically I stopped to have some food in between episodes, but this will be my last one I record for the day. For sure, so we got a little bit to talk about. I do not have a awakening. And the heal thing is on the next floor, so we got that berry. I told you it was a cliffhanger. We'll come back from these other items. We're gonna get out of here quick, escape rope out, and heal up. And for this episode, we're gonna try and get through the tower. I think that's a pretty realistic goal. Within a half an hour, we should be able to do that. No problemo. And then we're gonna talk a little bit about. Oh, no. Oh, about, sorry, I just mentally checked out in between episodes. So, we're going to talk about, kind of my classes and what I've been taking so far and what's been interesting me there. So this one will be, an episode where you get to know Joe a little bit better. If you don't want to do that, please stick around. Anyway. And if you do want to, congratulations, you'll get to know me a little bit better. But, by the way, we're going to burn up super repel, or we're gonna burn up our regular repels first, and then we're gonna burn super repels if we have to. But yeah, so like I said, between episodes, I kind of stopped to have a bite to eat because it's getting to be about that time for me, and that's why I'm gonna wrap up recording after this one, because it's getting to be about my bedtime. Honestly, you know, it's I know you're not supposed to eat right before bed, but it's kind of coming up on me now. I'm getting tired, getting plumb tuckered, I tell you what. And, oh no! Sorry, I knocked something over because I'm a clumsy buffoon. Oh, we're good. We're back. But, yeah, I just stopped in between episodes to have a bite because I needed it. I was hungry. What did I have to eat? Thank you for asking. I had some Subway. I basically earlier today I realized I was completely out of food, and I was like, cool, well, I'm gonna go grab fast food while I pick up some supplies so that way I can have what I need to get me through until I move, and then I can just, you know, eat something quickly tonight. So, being fair, I had Subway for lunch, and I just got 2 subs when I went, and I ate 1 full sub when I went for lunch, and then had the other half for dinner here tonight. A little boring, I know, but it is. What was on them? Thanks again for asking. You're really curious about Rayquaza? Cannon, I trust you. Stab Psychic. But ooh, it was close. It was very close. That's scary. Uh-oh. Oh, baby. Okay. Okay. Let me just make sure Psychic has 100% accuracy. Because you're faster. I know you're faster. Okay. Yep. We're alright. Ooh, we lost it early there. But no, I had a chicken bacon ranch and a ham. Now, being honest with you, someday I do hope to go vegan. And neither of those things are going to make it hard for me. They will not be missed in my dietary repertoire, really. Like, they're fine, and I'll eat them, but it's not like I'm eating them. I'll eat them and like, man, this is the best thing in the world. Like, I love chicken. I do love eating chicken, and that is going to be hard for me to kick, but someday I really do want to. But no, I mean, it's just the Subway is fine. I think they're, honestly, don't shoot the messenger on this one. Personally, I think they're pretty low on the power rankings for fast food, specifically for sub shops. Even I think they're pretty low on the power rankings because it's always the same kind of not good, and it's always very expensive for how not good I think it is. We can probably bite our way through this. Alright, well, never mind. I don't want to deal with confusion. But, no, I just, you know, I after learning more and more about the industry for around meats, I would really rather not engage it anymore, if possible. So that's a long-term life goal. I can't say when I'll get there, because it's really, like, I know some people will say, like, just do it, lol, but, like, with where I live, it's very hard to actually say that it's, like, something that's reasonable that everyone can do. But it is something that I could be better at doing and be more mindful in, and I should. You are right if you have that criticism for me. Absolutely. But someday. Someday down the line that will be the goal, but again, those will not be what calls me back to meat. What I think will be, like, the hardest things for me to really kick will be, like, I really love grilled chicken patties. Like, a good grilled up chicken breast is just so good. I really do love that flavor. And I think I will miss that a lot, but I'm pretty sure there's some analogs, like some tofu-like analogs that taste pretty close to it. And, like, the Beyond Burger, honestly, pretty solid. If you haven't had it, I heavily... what do we got here? What are you? Very... So yeah, we can always just come back to here to heal now, so we don't actually have to leave the tower, which is nice. But yeah, I've had the Beyond Burger, super good. I've had some black bean burger soup, not too bad. You know, beans, I think, make a pretty okay substitute for meat in a lot of situations. You know, it has that same level of filling you up. It just doesn't always have the, like, because I'll admit, sometimes there is that flavor of meat that I do quite enjoy, but, like, the Beyond Burger, I think, emulates it almost perfectly. Okay, I shouldn't say perfectly. You can tell you're not eating a meat burger. But, like, if someone slipped you one, I was like, hey, just have this burger, and didn't mention that it was meat substitute, you might actually be like, man, this is just a different tasting burger. It just seasoned it differently. You might believe that. I would. But, hey, check this out. Not paralyzed people. Idiot. Yeah, someday that's really going to be something I'm going to take steps towards. I really do think so. But, barring that, I want to talk about my school experience so far. So, we're going to put in Lizardius here. So, my first semester, right, I am, not to give away too much about my age, but I'm quite a few years, not quite a few, but several years removed from high school. Like, I have done nothing as studious, period, in years before some bead mail. I'm gonna bead the mail into the garbage. Got him. Told you. No, so I haven't done anything with school in a while, so I really wasn't thinking I was on my game. But I've mentioned it in my Isaac series before. I was on the math team in high school. You know, I took up to trigonometry, which admittedly isn't like a high math course to take in high school, because like we had kids who took. So if you were insane at math, basically, you could skip our regular 8th grade math and go right to 9th grade math as an 8th grader. No, excuse me. You can skip 9th grade math skip into 9th grade math as an 8th grader. Yeah. And then you could take 10th grade math and 9th grade, skip 10th grade, go to 11th grade, and then 12th. And then in your junior and senior year, take... Oh, biscuits. I don't remember what this Pokemon was. Tygro's probably good against it, though. I don't remember. I'm sorry. Yeah, we're fine. Anything would have realistically been fine. But you could get into... So my school offered above trig, there was calculus, and then there was above that, if you managed to make it above calc, which, like, if I hadn't had some shenaniganery happen with my teachers where one painted a target on my back, basically, because... Alright, now we're getting into it. Joe's getting heated. So, in 8th grade, I'll admit I was a little cocky. Sure, I'll give that to you. But, I'm sorry, 7th grade. 7th grade, I was a little cocky. And I will admit that to you because I looking back on it, I was. But the thing was I had a lot of reason to be cocky. I was very, very good at math at the time. You know, comparatively of like my grade of 70-something people, so it's not like... It's not like I'm setting a high bar. I don't want you to think like, oh, he thinks he's a math genius. Well, I'm probably better than him at math. And odds are, yeah, you probably are. But like on paper, I'm decent at math, at least out of my cohort that I went to school with. And we'll get into that a little bit, but because I was cocky, I refused to do homework because, and I truly do still believe this. I believe that if you understand the concepts at a level where you are consistently able to test perfectly on them, because I was in 7th grade math, every single test that came around, I either got 100% or the best grade in the class regardless. So, like, sure, did I ever get beaten? Probably once or twice. But realistically, on any major test, on a chapter test, unit test, like quizzes, sometimes I wouldn't do so hot on, sure, because it would sometimes take me a little bit... Why do I have Tortimer in front of that? It would sometimes, admittedly, take me a little bit of time to grasp new concepts. So sure, quizzes I wouldn't always do the best on. But on all tests, like chapter reviews, on all, you know, exams in between like semesters and finals and stuff, I was the guy to beat in my class. Not necessarily in my grade, because there were 2 or 3 other people who were like, if they were in my class, they would have given me a run for my money. Let's say that to make myself look better. But no, that's who says something fell out. It's you, lady. I didn't see your name. I'm sorry. Forgive me. But no, so they Moonstone. We're gonna go back and heal before we fight the reason for Ghost being named Ghost, and we will fight the reason for Ghost being named Ghost with Ghost, unless it's something that's poorly type affected against Ghost. But anyway, so in her class, I refused to do homework because I was like genuinely acing just about everything that came my way, or proving that I was acing it as well as you could expect any student to be acing it. I was just doing as good as you could physically expect someone to be doing. And she hated me for it. Because I was like, hey, by the way, this doesn't count as an encounter because you can't catch the ghost. I didn't know it was actually named Ghost. Yeah, it is a Marowak still. So actually, we don't want a Marowak against a Marowak. We don't want to deal with that. Magical Leaf is a better move, so I think we do Flora here. Because yeah, Flora also resists it, which is good. So we should be okay. I don't think that Tortimer would have actually resisted, and Bone Barang would have hurt quite a lot. So we'll two-shot Marowak, but you cannot catch this Marowak. It doesn't count as an encounter, and even if it did, Dupe's close. We couldn't catch it. By my rules, I'm not allowed to catch dupes, be it in family or an evolutionary tree or not. And just, oh wow, we aren't gonna two-shot it. We barely missed, but it won't matter because Magical Leaf can't miss, so we're all right. But anyway, rest in peace, Marowak. Hopefully you're at ease. Thank you for all your hard work. I assure you, we'll say goodbye to your son for you, or daughter. I don't know where your Cubone is. Bye. See? But yeah, so I would, like, she hated me for that, because she knew that I was right. She saw my test grade. She knows I didn't need to do the homework, but she was like, when you get into high school, you're gonna have to do homework, mister. And I don't know why I'm giving her that voice. Like, she's just doing her job. But I was like, no, I genuinely, I was like, I told her two-faced, I was like, if I have homework that comes across that is for a subject that I need to study for, I will study for it. But this isn't it. Like, I understand everything you're teaching me flawlessly. I get what you're saying, I don't need extra help. And she was like, yeah, well, in high school, you're going to have to do it, so you might as well do it now, because if you don't do it now, I'm just going to assume you're not going to do it later. I'm like, well, that's not a fair assumption to make, I don't think. And because of that, at the end of the year, we had an aptitude test, where if you took it and scored high enough, you would be placed above Algebra 1 into geometry for my school. And to that end, I took the test, and I believe I got the 3rd highest score in my grade. Like, easily tested into that class. It was, I think I got like a 92% on this test, which the average grade was a heavy failing, like 50 or lower. So, like, you gotta understand that I did quite well on this test. And she refused to put me into geometry because of my refusal to do homework. She was like, I will not put you into that class. You do not belong there because you have an attitude about it. Basically, was it. She was like, you're not going to learn if you don't do homework, even though I clearly showed to her that I had the ability to learn without doing homework. She just refused to believe that because alternative teaching in America it doesn't exist, apparently. Okay, that's a little far. I'm getting heated. I'm getting hot. Getting spicy about this one. I still hold resentment for this one because I truly believe that I'm in the right about this. If a student demonstrates that homework is useless to them because they do not need it to be proficient at what you're teaching, you should just be like, cool, you don't have to do homework. And like, sure, would other students look at that and be like, that's not fair because I have to do all the homework? Sure, maybe, but like high key, not anyone else's problem but yours. Because like, not everyone is going to learn the same way, and if you don't learn, we can do this. Shadow Punch and just take it out, and we shouldn't have anything to worry about anymore. Yeah. That gave me pause. So like, a critical hit kills us. And there's no way I want Cannon to die, but like, Cannon keeps proving that if it doesn't one-shot, it's dead. Alright, well. Magikarp really scaring us here. We'll just let Lizardia scratch it to death. But, no, because like, some students need homework in order to be able to actually, like, internalize concepts, in order to be able to really grasp them. And other students will not grasp a concept unless you teach it to them differently. No amount of homework will teach it to them. Like, they will fail at the homework, they will fail on tests, and you have to find another way around that. That's another problem, too. But if a student clearly isn't doing homework, refuses to turn it into you because they aren't doing it, and then comes around and aces the tests, go like, cool, you no longer have a homework grade. Unless you start slipping up on tests, cool, I won't grade your homework anymore. You get a pass on it. I genuinely think that's how it should be. If you can prove that your aptitude is above the level that you're performing at, or above the level that's being asked of you, you should not have to dumb yourself down and waste your time. Because homework is meant to help internalize processes by repeating them. Totally get that. Believe me, I do. And it's very valuable in classes that are genuinely very hard, and we'll get there, I promise you that. But when you're in a class that you are just not better than, but like not, I said, if you couldn't hear, I said not better than, just clarifying that. But like, is this flamethrower for us? I think? Question mark? No. Okay. Swinoob. I mean, it doesn't matter, really, but you're confused, so we'll switch you out, and we'll not for it. We'll shoot Tortimer and bite. But, if you are clearly showing that there's no excuse for you to do homework other than to spend time doing it so that your grade physically stays up, so that you're passing. Like, I understand that another part of it is, well, you have to be prepared in the real world to do things you don't want to do. I get that, too. But if you are working within a system that is horribly inefficient, and you can see the inefficiency in it, explain why it's inefficient, and offer a solution that easily rectifies it, nowhere you are working for or dealing with should ever have the right to tell you, yeah, but this is the way it is, so too bad. Oh my. I don't know if you... I don't know if the mic's picking that up. That was a loud thunderclap. But, like, nowhere should ever be allowed to tell you, yeah, you're very right, but I don't care because it's going to be this way because I have authority and you don't. That just shouldn't be the way it is. And I will always have problems with that. It's why, you know, okay, we're really getting into some philosophy here. It's why I heavily disagree with the ideas of, like, well, I'm older than you, so I must be right. Or, like, you know, the concept of respect your elders. Respecting your elders only goes so far as, to me, as to say, by the way, we totally beat the Poke Tower. I'm sorry, I'm still mad, so we're going. Respect your elders to me only means that you should extend the respect to the information that they might have. You should respect that they could know more than you. But don't expect them to know more than you. You should be like, there is a good chance that you have wisdom, and I should take every opportunity when you're speaking to an elder to learn from them. Absolutely. I very much so am on that wavelength. However, I'm not on the wavelength when people are like, well, I'm older than you, so shut your mouth. Because I've known a lot of people like that. And that's how this lady was, where she was like, I don't care that you're right. I don't care that you don't need homework. I don't care that it's wasting your time. Because it's not my time being wasted. I'm going to tell you to keep doing it. And that, it really sticks in my craw that that's the way that shook out. I really do not care for that. But I can't really say anything to the contrary because I was a student, she was a teacher. I have, in that power dynamic, like, no matter who I complain to, no one in the school is gonna go, yeah, you're right. I just realized a funny haha. We have to take Bob out to fight Erika. And we're by the way, we're going to fight Erika. And in order to do that, I think we're gonna have to forego someone. And it's a lot tougher than you might think. Because I think it's going to be Tortimer. Part of me considered Cannon. Because Cannon's like on the brink of death every other turn. Like, okay, let's look at these stats real quick, right? 120, basically, attack, and 100 special attack, and 101 speed. So incredibly fast and powerful. But those defense stats are so bad. Like, look at this. That's way more attack, and way more special attack, and more speed than Tigro, but Tigro's defenses are, you know, in regular defense over doubled, and special defense double and like a half. Like, it's a lot. And then, like, just defensively, it's so bad. It's so bad. But offensively, it's hard to argue. So I think, for now, I'm sorry, Tortimer. I love you. I love you. you're part on the team, I promise. But you gotta go for now. Anyway, I hate that that's power dynamic. I hate that you're expected to go, you know, respect your elders at all times, even if they're dumb and wrong. And, you know, I don't want to come off as, again, I don't want to come off as arrogant. I don't want to come off as all cocky. But, like, I, in this situation, feel very strongly that I am justified in my emotions. Because I proved myself as being a more than capable math student, and she decided to hold me back because she didn't like that I didn't do homework. And I feel like that is a disgraceful reason for her to do that, because I would have had the ability to grow a lot more in my math ability. And she just said, no, I'm not going to let you do that. And so I had to take algebra base. And that teacher, by the way, for regular algebra, sucked. I hate him for the way he teaches math. He's a perfectly nice gentleman. He never... That's bad. Bad swapping. He never personally did anything to attack me or was rude to me, but he did not teach math. He said, here's some math problems. Figure it out. Read the book, and the book will teach you. And I'm going to write some generic math problems on the board, write them on a piece of paper, turn them in at the end of the class. That's it. That was all he did to teach. And then he would put out these, like, Sudoku puzzles and crosswords and be like, by the way, if you need extra credit, just do those, and you can turn in up to 2 a week, and it will give you, basically you could do, I think you could get about 50% on every single test in this class, and turn in like no homework, and if you did all of the extra credit opportunities that he gave, you would pass. And because I'm prideful, which I know I shouldn't be, but I am, because I'm prideful, I refuse to do most of the extra credits. I'm like, no, absolutely not. You will not degrade me to the point where I can't. Basically, I was at a crossroads where I was like, I know that I should be able to do this because I should be. Oh, okay, hang on. More important things call. Reggie Steele. I think you know self-destruct or explosion. Reggie Steele, Gen 3. No, not Ice Steel. Ah, yeah. Thank you. Yeah. I gotta know what he knows, because I have to know if we need to... I think it's gonna be another stalemate thing where you have to put in freaking Bob. Yeah, you know... Explosion, Metal Claw, and Curse. Yeah, so... This might be Bob dying. And we've been at this road before. I really hope that that's not the case. But I hope he just uses explosion right away. Yeah, okay, great. So Bob should be fine. Right? Yeah, not even a problem. Not even remotely a problem. And that's why we're glad we have Bob here, because if that wasn't Bob, someone would have died. We would have just had to pick a team member to lose right there. Mole Trace, also scary. We'll do Tigro, because we don't have water on our team anymore, and ground isn't effective. If we had rock, we'd be very happy, but we don't. But anyway, I was angry because I was like, I shouldn't be in this class. I should be in the class above, and the teacher refuses to actually teach me how to do this stuff. And when I would ask him for help, he's like, well, you know, did you read the book? I was like, yeah. And he's like, read it again. If you don't get it, just read it again, I guess. And that was all the more help he was ever willing to offer. And it frustrated me, and I barely passed. I had like a D in that class. And then getting into real math after that, I was in geometry, right? And I had like nearly perfect A's in geometry. And my teacher, after like a month or two, was like, hey, there's this thing coming up called the math meet, and I would really like you to be a part of it, but you aren't doing the homework. By the way, I should stress, I was doing the homework in Algebra 1. I was, because I didn't understand it, and I was really trying at that class, and I still got like a D. I did terrible. Cut to geometry. I was like, and she asked me, hey, I would like you to be on part of the math team. She's like, I'm gonna level with you. You are one of my best students, but you don't do your homework. And I explained to her the same grievance where I was like, well, I understand the material, so I don't feel like I should have to do homework because I clearly test well. I clearly understand the material, so I think homework is superfluous. And she's like, yeah, well, that's not how this works. And I was like, well, I don't have any reason to stop me from going onto the math team other than not doing homework. And I was like, if I want to do this, if I want to have this on my record, if I want to say I was part of the math team and I was able to do this, and she really had faith in me, then I'll do it. And I started doing my homework for that class, despite me not needing to, and it literally added, like, anywhere from 20 to 45 minutes a night of busy work that I was just mindlessly going through. Like, I mean this with 100% sincerity. I was using almost 0% of my brain power to do this stuff, because it was literally, like, the way I can describe this homework was like, imagine someone's reviewing you on, what's something that goes, okay, your favorite game franchise, right? Whatever it is, I don't care what it is. Your favorite game franchise, the game franchise that you played the most of, that you know everything about, that no one could ever stump you on a single question about, right? Whatever that may be. Imagine having to, and don't get me wrong, you being passionate about it helps you a lot in this situation, because I was not very passionate about doing this math review. But whatever it is, right? Imagine if they were asking you the most basic questions about it. Like, who's the main character? What do you do? Is there dialogue? What is the perspective? First or third person? I can't express to you how close I am to describing to you. Like, I know that sounds ridiculous. Like, oh, how could you make math that level of banal? But it was. I assure you, it was. It was literally the most basic stuff for me because it was not hard concepts for me to grasp at the time. I think Canon can do this, yeah. As long as we just don't accidentally do Shadow Punch. Oh yeah. But it was literally that level of basic. By the way, I'm gonna warn you now. Oh, I don't remember what type you are, but I think Ghost wrecks you. I'm gonna warn you now. This is gonna be a longer episode because I want to get this rant out there before we wrap it up, and I want to beat this shit. I do. I want that to be the thing we go out on, for better or worse. Okay, I thought it was super effective this time, but a headbutt will get you. But anyway, so yeah, it's gonna be a little bit of a longer one. Strap in, but I just want to get this whole thought out there. So I just started doing it, but it was the most like basic level of busy work I could possibly imagine. It really wasn't worth my time. It wasn't, but I did it so that I could be on the math team. Went to the math meet that year, and I scored best in my class by far. I tied for first, but they didn't give me first place because of a scoring error that they only noticed after they were awarding, not after they were awarding people, but basically like they had submitted who they were awarding first place to, and they're like, well, yeah, you tied with them technically, but because your handwriting's bad, we're just gonna let them take home the trophy. I'm not kidding. They're just like, well, your handwriting's pretty bad, so I can see how someone mistaked that, but you are right, you did have the right answer here. So, yeah, I mean, technically you tied. But they refused to award me the prize because they screwed up. So, being the arrogant little bastard I was. Oh, excuse my language. I'm very heated right now, I'm so sorry. Usually I only get this heated at Isaac. Anyway. But, yeah, no, despite, because I was such an arrogant little kid, I was like, how dare you, like, not equally award me and mention me to this room full of people I'll never meet again. But, like, to the people I went with, there was a small group of people I went with, and I think it was, like, 5 kids from my school went. I was easily the highest scoring there, and easily the most handsome, wonderful person there too, and funny and handsome, funny and anyway. But no, I just scored the highest by far, and oh, Articuno, excuse me. Again, rock type would really come in huge right here, but thankfully we have a Raikou that should be able to fix our woes. I wish we had a better friggin' move than Thunder Shock. I think it's got to be pretty soon that you learn a better move, right? Right. A cool. Gentoo, next up, please. 41. So, 8 levels. Told you I'm good at math. Sorry, that was a little aggressive. Anyway, so I did really well. And I was very proud of myself, but I was also angry that I didn't get rewarded for scoring how I did. And yeah, so we went home and I was a little dejected, but I was like, whatever. And then next year I was in Algebra 2, and I might have you know what, I was in 9th grade I was in Algebra 1, by the way. I did screw up my years earlier, but now we're on track. 9th grade I was in Algebra 1, and then 10th grade was Geometry, 11th grade was Algebra 2. Yeah. And in Algebra 2, I was on the math team again. I was a lock-in for it, but that class, like, you didn't have to turn in homework for half the year, because the teacher would be like, hey, did you do your homework? And you'd be like, yep. And then she'd be like, cool. And she wouldn't check it, nothing. She would just be like, hey, did you do it? Yes or no. And, man, I gotta tell you, super respected her for it. Like, because if you had a problem in the class, she would genuinely be like, do you need help? And if you did, she'd be like, great, let's sit down and let's figure this out. Great teacher. Absolutely adore her. Because she, again, it was only half the year that she didn't check your work, because she eventually caught wind that most of the kids weren't actually doing it. And she was like, alright, well, everyone's going to have to do it now. And that sucked. And it wasn't even super power, excuse me. Excuse me, you naturally learn superpower? Okay. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna just teach you superpower. Absolutely. Why not? Now you get rid of Ghost, Dark, and Psychic. Cool. But, so, she was just a great teacher, and the fact that she had to revert it wasn't because people were talking about it and she heard about it, because she knew. But it was because people started blabbing around other teachers, and more directly were, oh, I want to, but no, we shouldn't, because I don't think you'll lie to it. But you might. Yeah, okay. By the way, we're gonna go heal up before Erika. But they were blabbing around other teachers and other faculty, and they were starting to get wind of it, so she was like, alright, I have to be more strict with you now, because you idiots don't know when to shut up. But she was a great teacher, nonetheless. And I was on the math team, went to the math meet that year. I ended up tying the person, one of the people I went with for best grades in the class. And now, this was another opportunity to where in theory, I think it might have been between geometry and algebra, too. Being fair, yeah, no, I'm sorry. For geometry, there was a slight option for me to be boosted out of geometry and into trigonometry right away, which I probably should have done, being fair, but I declined it at the time because, and it was declined to me, because in 9th grade I was a very bad student in everything other than math. Like, just being straight up with you, I was very bad at everything else. Not that, it was because I had my arrogance about me, and I was like, I don't need any of this, and there were a lot of problems that honestly fall on me. There were a lot of shortcomings that I had. Just, like, you know, it's important to acknowledge when you are the person at fault, and I genuinely was for all these things. But I just wasn't trying in any of my other classes, and I should have been. So it was not offered to me, and also I was like, well, I probably should get better at other things. And when I was doing Algebra 2, my other classes started falling into place. I was still very arrogant and had several teachers I hated. By the way, we're fighting Erika. Just no big deal. It's not a gym leader. With a Steelix. Okay, so Tigro, not the right choice. Because what typing is Steelix? Are you Steel Ground or Straight Steel? We'll do a Gen 3 learn set on you quick too. Steelix. I think we've looked this up before, and I think you're just straight steel, but I'm gonna make sure you don't know any, like, okay, so you could know Rock Throw? Potentially. Rage, Harden, Bind, Screech. So we'll kind of bait out a Rock Throw just to test. So you are Rock, you're Steel Ground. Okay. I'm gonna say we're gonna switch to Lizardius, but if we see a Rock Throw, instant switch out. I don't care what happens, it's out of there. Alright, it's out of there. We can survive one attack. We'll Ember. We'll be okay. It's just we need to get this hit in. Oh, okay. We can kill him. No crit? Thank you. Alright, yeah, we got this. No problem. Lizardius tanking it like a champ. Now, Lizardius is kind of out of the fight for now. Unless we can find a good switching opportunity, but a heal opportunity specifically. A Vibrava. What even is a Vibrava? I know what it is, but like, what's its type? Let's see. What are you? What are you? Ground? Something? I don't remember. Ground Dragon. Right, so... you know what? Cannon. Let's just see what happens. I got faith. But, anyway, yeah, other classes were problems for me. I had other teachers I had disagreements with, because of course I did. Whatever, but I took Algebra 2 and tied for first place in my school for the math meet, but Suicune. What type is Suicune? I mean, it doesn't matter. We're gonna put in Raikou, but water type. So yeah, Now, being fair, Flora is technically an option because Grass Good v Water. However, Suicune almost certainly knows Ice-type moves. I think Raikou is just the right pick here. Because, honestly, Suicune, I think, knows Ice Beam at this point. If not, it might know Aurora Beam, which, like... Ooh, that's also scary. No matter what's scary. But anyway, so, you know, I tied for the position on the math meet, and it went, you know, I was pretty proud of that, because the guy I tied with he was very good. And I was happy. And, you know, there was competition with this one girl who, she was legitimately 2 years younger than me, but in the same math class as me. One of the smartest people I've ever met. She is, for sure, like, no matter what she does, I have confidence she will be great at it. Phenomenal person, all around. She was a good friend of mine for a while, but I was an idiot. Not that I did anything wrong. I want to clear that up immediately before that becomes a problem. She and I were both young, and she was attracting me and I was attracted to her, but I had some complications in my life and ended up basically started talking to an ex again, and I ended up dating that ex instead of her. And I don't regret that I chose someone else. I regret that I hurt her in that decision. Not that's kind of it. By the way, we beat Erika. I'm sorry, it doesn't stack up to the emotional stuff I'm talking about at the moment, but we'll have to see what TM19 is as well. Because it doesn't contain Giga Drain, I assure you. But you know, I regret that she was upset, because she didn't deserve any poor treatment, torment, whatever. She was a very wonderful person, incredibly smart, and again, she, like, last time I talked to her, she is working on a cellular biology degree, and has intentions of taking that to, at minimum, a master's, but I have faith she will be a doctor. Like, just incredibly smart person, and I kick myself every now and then when I think back on her, just to, like, how I was foolish for, you know, getting so close to her and then being like, I gotta get out of here. And then the thing is that, like, I was confused about how I felt too, and it's a difficult thing. All around it's difficult, but it is what it is. I think we're gonna check out Silphco, just because I do have a little bit more to talk about here. But moving past that, you know, she was testing very well as well, and then moved on to trigonometry in my senior year. And with trigonometry, I was also on the math team, and I was first place again in my school, but not in the meet. Because the reason that I never placed first, other than my first year in the meets, is because there was a school in our district who had a math class designed to very specifically and targetedly prepare students for the math meets. That was the only purpose of that math class. It was not there for any other reason. It was not there to, like, teach you long-term math skills. It was not there to, like, introduce you to concepts. It was literally there to prepare for math meets and just to make them look good when we would have competitions. That was it. You know, it sucked. We had very little chance for anything to go. We're still a little over-leveled here, which feels really good. Because normally I come into here and I start getting scared about levels. And we're alright. Although, we're going to have to switch to Flora. But anyway, so yeah, trigonometry first for my school, with that girl being a close second. And, you know, no one else being that well, there were a couple people who were in the ballpark. But no one, like... No one in threat of being first, other than that girl. That girl was very good. But my junior year, I decided to take a chemistry class, and I loved it. I love that teacher, super cool guy. Lugia's flying type, and knows moves by now, I'm sure. But you know, I love that teacher. And before taking chemistry, I asked him, like, "Hey, do you think I could do this?" And he was like, "No, absolutely not." And that was, you know, 10th grade for me, where I sucked at school. And then in 11th grade. I started it and was... stop that. Fine. But I... Alright, well... we're not doing a whole lot of damage here. We'll be alright. But sorry, I gotta pay attention to this little bit now. Okay, we're good. But so he was. I started and wasn't doing so hot, but it was like whatever, I can manage. And then I was in a history course, and I asked my teacher there. I actually, crazy enough, I know this is gonna make me sound like the biggest nerd in the world, but I showed up to parent-teacher conferences alone because I had no one to go with. My mom wasn't gonna come with, and my dad unfortunately was no longer with us, and we. I make it to parent-teacher conferences. I go alone, and I tell my teachers, like, I genuinely want you to tell me how I'm doing. To act like my parent is here, or act like this is your opportunity to just lay into me if you have to. But tell me how I'm doing. And, if anything goes wrong with that, if you aren't, feeling it or whatever, it's fine. Because, you have plausible deniability at this point. Like, what faculty member in their right mind is going to believe that some student decided to come here of his own volition and listen to you, and say this to you? There's no way, and there's no way I'm going to talk to you. So they're all right. So my English teacher was like, you're doing fine. You're smart. Just work a little harder. Like, okay. My math teacher was like, you're doing fine. Keep up with your homework. You're doing fine. But my history teacher was like, no, you're doing very bad. And I was like, excuse me? She's like, well, you're getting C's right now on assignments and things. And... Sorry, I was just listening for something there. And, she's like, and that's fine if you want to get C's. But she's like, you're not a C student. If you even try a little bit, a B student. And if you... and I was like, you really think that? And she's like, yeah, if you put literally any effort into this, you would have to have a B in my course. There's no two ways about that. And you're not trying. And she's like, and I want to see you try because you are obviously better than that. And that kind of lit a fire under me. It gave me some fire in my gut and made me, want to try. And then, I went to my science teacher, who told me before, by the way, that he was like, I don't think you can do this. When I asked him about taking chemistry, and was like, hey, how am I doing in the course? What do you think? He's like, well, you're doing about what I expected. You're passing, but why? Why if you aren't putting yourself into it? And I was like, you're right. And after that, I started really knuckling down. I did a lot more homework. I thought a lot more. I brought all my grades up to A's, everything. And then the next year, I ended up taking. I took my 4th year of Spanish that year. By the way, I can kind of speak a little bit of Spanish. Not really, it's been a long time for me, but I did take 4 years of it in high school. But I should mention that my 4 years is not equivalent to 4 years in other schools. My 4 years in my school, because my school sucked, is about 2 years of a real school. But anyway, I took 4 years of Spanish. I was in my 4th year of Spanish. I was in... And by the way, a big part of why my Spanish doesn't really count as a lot of Spanish is because in 4 years of Spanish, I had, I think it was 8 different teachers. And I'm not kidding. It was nuts. But 4th year Spanish, I took advanced chemistry, I took physics, I took trigonometry, and I took I took a machining shop class, and I actually got to blacksmith in that class. That was super cool. I got to take a ox stock cut pipe steel and make a long chisel out of it. It's more of a log splitter. Super cool. Probably shouldn't have been able to make it in school, but anyway, you know what? This one's getting way too long in the tooth. I think. Okay, you've convinced me. We're gonna do one more episode of this recording session. I'm gonna call it here. And I'm going to do one more after this, because I don't want this to go on to be an hour or more. 50 minutes is way too long. So we're going to cut it now. I'm going to do the hyper-appended version to the end with this music, hyping up, and we're going to get out of here. So thank you so much for watching. If you watched this long, my God, you're a trooper. Thank you so much for watching almost 50 minutes of me talk about school and be angry. Watch the next one that comes out in 2 days, where I'll be even angrier. I'm kidding, but where I'll continue this conversation. We'll wrap it up. It'll be closer to a half an hour for sure, because it's my bedtime. I'm tired. But leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. I'm assuming if you watch all 50 minutes of it, essentially, you probably like something. So please leave a like. Subscribe if you haven't, so you can keep up with my notifications as videos go live and everything like that. Comment down below if you have any comments. Please tell me your school experience down there. I would love to hear if you had any stories similar to this. Reach out to me on Twitter if you want to have a direct conversation with me. That's at most folks. You'll find Orange Joe there. If you have questions about any of this, check the description box down below where it's all spelled out for you clearly and where I tell you to have a lovely day, because that's what I want you to do, darn. And I'll see you in the next one where we will have the thrilling conclusion of me complaining. I'll see you then. See ya.